Hi, this is Thursday, March 5th, 2020. Boy, time's flying towards this upcoming election, isn't it? My goodness. Welcome to everybody. Glad to have you here. Elly's going to be late. She's got her little granddaughter with her and is waiting for somebody to come and help with some babysitting. Anyhow, while we're waiting for her to join us, I'm ready to click her in as soon as she comes. She said she'd be late. So while we're waiting for her to join us, I have several updates. First of all, I'll go ahead and say a little bit about Elly's situation. For those of you who knew that there was some pretty big trauma going on in their lives a week and a half or two ago, Elly seems really happy about how things are settling down, and she's going forward with the creation of her new broadcast studio for her show, Investigators News, on Facebook, and then just Investigators on YouTube. That's Investigators plural on YouTube. And she broadcasts every morning, I believe, and her brother Larry broadcasts every night at 9 or 10 or 11 in the evening, depending on your time zone, I guess, and I can't remember the time exactly. Her brother Larry does a lot of Q stuff, and interpreting Q and reporting what Q is saying. Elly does a lot with the news, and she's trying to get her studio set up because she'll be on with Jason on a regular basis a couple times a month, Jason Goodman with Crowdsource the Truth, and she'll be with him on a regular basis in her own time slot. So we're excited for her, and she is, expanding her outreach and all the research that she does with the news. And she, her siblings, sister and brother are very, very interested in doing research and keeping up with what's going on. So that's her update. My update is I've got several inspectors coming over tomorrow, and including specialists. So they're going to be going over my home, my old house, with a fine-tooth comb, and I'm pretty nervous about, what's going to be uncovered, and what kind of renegotiating's going to be expected. And right now I've got a ratified contract, and we are trying to get all the inspection contingencies wiped out so we can proceed. I will know in the latest that I found out is, we'll know by the 21st whether we're going forward. But that, I hate having to wait. So the other thing is I heard Dave Hodges last night. Actually, I heard him before 6 o'clock this morning. I'm going to get there, Mimi. Just give me a minute. Anyhow, sorry, I lost my train of thought trying to read. I can't do so many things at once. Lost my train of thought. And anyhow, I listened to Dave Hodges before 6 o'clock this morning, and something that he had put up around midnight last night, and he was talking about a lot of economic trauma and downturn in the market, and somebody had warned him about things coming. Well, I had talked both yesterday and today with somebody who used to trade on Wall Street and has been a financial advisor for decades, and he was getting direct from the powers that be in Wall Street or New York or wherever his contacts are, the people that he has a multiple decade relationship with. And he said that, yes, we're going through a bit of a correction right now, but they are not expecting more trouble to happen yet. That the powers that be are in the financial world are a bit concerned that Trump is asking, and maybe doesn't understand, but is asking the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates, and going into negative interest rate territory is a concern. And because we have to pay them for the privilege. There's more, fees associated with having any kind of a bank account. One of the things Larry had told us a couple years ago is that if the banks close, if they shut things down, martial law comes in automatically 72 hours later. The most likely thing is that they would shut the banks down on a Friday and claim Monday morning that there was a temporary problem. That's what to look forward to. But, Trump is doing his best not to have martial law right now. We know the Democrats had wanted that, and they certainly do not want Trump declaring martial law, because that keeps him as the ruler in power over Congress. So that's not what anybody wants. Anna, I'll get to that in a minute. That's not what anybody wants in the Congress right now. Forgive me, I went to inhale and needed to swallow at the same time. Oh, my grandmother, this is a genetic defect in my throat, folks. I'm so sorry. My grandmother had real trouble with this problem, and I see as the older I get, the worse it becomes for me. Pam, thank you. I know that the code issues affect my need for smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, but it doesn't affect anything that's wrong with my septic or the furnace or so on. And I'm at a point where we're on borrowed time because of the age, we're on borrowed time before things have to be replaced. So they want to know what they're looking at and, what surprises they may have coming at them. So thanks, Pam, for your encouragement on my inspections tomorrow and then Tuesday. Oh, don't bring granny things into this. Well, we can't help aging, and we do tend to follow the patterns that have happened already in our aging other relatives. So Schumer, talking of Congress, I suppose you guys heard that he threatened Justices Gorsuch and Kavanaugh with the Supreme Court hearing yesterday, and I told you about that Supreme Court hearing. The Supreme Court hearing was on the Louisiana law that said that anybody, who was doing abortion, any doctor doing abortions, has to have visitation privileges at the hospital, so that if something goes awry, they can see their patient in the hospital and make sure things get taken care of. They're trying to protect the lives of the mothers. And, the abortion industry really has quite a reputation for being sub-quality in their medical practices. The clinics very often are very dirty. They're not very good about sterilizing equipment and keeping things clean. It really is a death trap for not just one dead, one wounded, but the possibility of one wounded very badly. We know that the women have emotional wounds that never go away. And anyhow, thanks, Pam, for your encouragement. So, Schumer's upset that there's a possibility that as our justices, more conservatives join the bench, there's a chance that Roe versus Wade could be overturned, as we pray it will be. And so he's freaking out. And I don't know if you guys saw that Schumer apologized in Congress this morning. And, we need, I will give you an assignment, folks. We need to call again. Hope you still have the phone numbers, because I took them. I can go back and get them again, but I don't have time to do that till after tomorrow's inspections. Remember, if you want to call anybody in Congress, you can always call the switchboard. And that number is 202-224-3121. And you can call and ask for Mitch McConnell's office. We need to tell Mitch McConnell that Schumer needs to go to the ethics committee for what he did in threatening the two justices. Because I'm talking about Chuck Schumer's threat on the justices yesterday. Because I don't care that he apologized. That doesn't take away the fact of what came out of that man's mouth yesterday. You can apologize for what you said, but you can't take back what you said. What he said, and that's a done deal. That those words are out, and even though he apologizes, he still needs to face the consequences for what he said. So call Mitch McConnell and say, we want Mitch McConnell taken before the ethics committee. And of course, I had Attorney General Barr's phone number up there, on older, after we got done calling Mitch McConnell about the impeachment, we were calling Barr and offering him encouragement for what he was doing. Anyhow, we should be calling Barr and telling him that he needs to do something as well about what Schumer said, because that's just wrong. He is telling the Supreme Court how they're to do their job. No, there are three separate branches of government. Okay, now that Elly's here, I will give you
free stuff.
Huh?
You're going to give us free stuff.
Yeah. Hey, look, talking about free stuff.
Cupcakes, preferably.
We had a really good prayer time last night. I announced on the conference call last night we were going to have prayer. And we prayed for a couple people by name that we knew were in a lot of pain, suffering a lot of pain, back pain, and so on. We prayed about some other, family issues. And we really did. If you are going through a tough time, our prayer covered prayer for you, whoever you are. And, we were very specific in the beginning with prayers for our president, for Larry, for the people on the call that are dealing with some really tough things that they admitted. We had somebody brand new joined us last night, had just found out about Larry and what he's done. They had seen something on Facebook. So keep posting on Facebook, folks. Be amazed what we can pull in. And anyhow, I just wanted you to know that you were included in our prayer time last night, and we will have another prayer call immediately after this show. Not tonight, but immediately. Very, very short conference call when we're done here. Elizabeth Warren, I understand, dropped out today, and it's interesting that she stayed in for Super Tuesday because she ended up, getting delegates that might have gone to Bernie Sanders, and there's been talk that she really hurt Bernie Sanders. But of course, we know the DNC does not want Bernie as their candidate, and it was going to be Joe until he started showing his dementia. And then they told Hillary, thank you, but no thank you. Larry told us this. And then the DNC asked Mike Bloomberg to run. And we know, how he crashed and burned. So, they're pretty much between a rock and a hard place. There's a lot of talk on Facebook that I've seen in the last few days about Joe Biden just being a puppet, like we know Obama was. And, if he gets in, he's not going to be the one leading the country. He's just going to be following orders. And we know that. And that's why they did not want, Larry's told us this many times. That's why they did not want Trump, because he was not bought. He paid his own way to get into the race. He didn't owe anybody anything. And, he is accepting funds now, but he paid his own way in the first term. And so he wasn't bought. So he didn't owe anybody anything. So, that's what we want, is somebody who is independent and thinks for themselves. And thank God for Trump's high IQ and his business acumen, because, he's able to use that. Now, you know, sometimes we see things he's doing and we question because either we don't understand or perhaps there are things that we know that he's not being advised well on. But we can't have we don't have a perfect person, and we can't expect him to be perfect, and so he is going to make mistakes because he's human. So yes, he's not compromised. And I'm Gloria is suggesting the election reminds her of Hillary when they're still behind Joe. They'll use the 25th Amendment probably to get rid of him, and I've been saying that too. Bernie will probably get another big payoff and another mansion somewhere to get him to step out like they did in 2016 with him. But don't forget, the brokered convention has a big impact on who they end up voting for. And we know a lot of the young people got very angry about them not allowing Bernie to be the candidate, and therefore a lot of those people in reaction voted for Trump. What they will do this time remains to be seen. We can hope that the best case scenario would be they stay home, but we don't know what they're going to do. So the other piece, let's see, I think the president's tweets in the last 24 hours have been awesome. I don't know how many of you saw his interview with Sean Hannity last night. I need to text James because he came on the call last night talking about it. He had been watching before Trump came on, and he joined our call just about the time Trump was on. Anna, the answer is yes, but I am going to give you an update. I think everything else on my list I have covered except for couple more things. Larry's, I'm going to choose my words appropriately. Larry's situation is grave. I have had, I've told you in recent weeks about my gut instincts regarding him. And I've been cycling through a lot of concern and stress and worry about him. I'm battling and fighting my way to peace. When I get these blips in my life of a sense of panic or my stomach being upset for no reason, my thoughts immediately turn to something might be wrong. And I did get a piece of information from one of his friends that my gut's right, and it's probably very serious. And so that's all I can say, because that's all I have to share and all I know. So we need to up our prayer for Larry. I don't think he's done. I do believe he will be back one way or another. I just don't forget at all when I get really stressed out about the fact that 2 years ago, we prayed him back to life after he'd been pronounced dead. So, I'm praying, I continue to pray for a miracle for him. And I'm also aware, sorry folks, I'm also aware of the excruciating pain he lives through and has suffered for years. And the shrapnel, the amount of shrapnel he has in his body from assassination attempts, lodged in places where it cannot be removed. It's the first thing you mentioned. I don't know what his assassination risk is right now. I do know that, 2 years ago, I was aware of 25 attempts on his life. I was told it was quite a larger number than that because there was somebody else who was getting information. I was not being told anything. I was not being called by Larry for about 6 weeks to protect me because I'm so close to DC. So this other person was getting phone calls and being made aware. And so there were probably 35 or 40 attempts on his life in 2018. There was only one that I was made aware of last year. And the risk went sky high in December. And Liberty, I totally agree that God has him here for a reason. And I'm at a point right now where I believe God still is not done with him and has a plan. I am thanking the Lord for a miracle that I anticipate will come. But it's been hard the last couple days to know how to pray, knowing the level of pain he's experiencing and not wanting to wish that on him. But God's told me to thank God for what God is doing. And so that's where I stand. And I'm going to quote, Mimi asked me to say something to, bring us back to the word. So I've got 3 scripture passages to share with you. One is in Proverbs. I think it's Proverbs 26, but I can't remember. Guard your heart with all diligence. And so as we pray for God's will, Gilby, the answer to that is no. Larry is not feeling better, and he's in a grave situation. So guard your heart with all diligence. We need to be careful about our attitude. We don't want to give the devil a foothold by being negative or worrying. Jesus said in John 14, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. That's John 14:1. And, peace. And then at the end of the chapter, John 14, I think it's 26, he says, peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you, not as the world gives you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. And then I'm going to go to Philippians 4, 6, and 7. Don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, with prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, make your request known unto God. And that thanksgiving in everything is very, very important. And the peace of God will guard your heart and mind through our Lord Jesus Christ. The peace of God that passes all understanding will guard your heart and mind through our Lord Jesus Christ. And Anna, you're completely right. It is a miracle that he has not been arkansas because of the number of attempts on his life. I saw somebody today was posting again that horrendous interview that never should have taken place with Pete Santilli. Pete Santilli did take it down, but somebody else copied it and keeps throwing it back up there with the title that I was a hitman for the Clintons. Well, Larry has said over and over and over again till he is so sick of dealing with that video. He had just had surgery. He was just waking up. He was still under the influence of the sedatives that he'd been given for his surgery. He had just told his wife, oh, look at Bill Clinton dancing on the table, the table that they can put across the bed. Look at Bill Clinton dancing on the table. Isn't that funny? Ha, ha, ha. And, so she knew he was not in his right mind because he was still under the influence of the sedative that they had given him for his surgery. And now don't ask me what surgery it was. It was before I knew him, so I don't know. But he had called Pete Santilli to set up the interview for his show that he knew was going to be coming up soon and set up, get the date and time established. Well, the lady that answered the phone said, well, would you like to talk to Pete yourself? And he said, sure. And Pete turned on the recorder, which he should not have done, because all Larry was calling to do was to set up an appointment when he was in his right mind again that they would talk. And so Larry said some crazy things that is now on that recording. Pete did take it down, but that's the story behind that recording, and it really upset me to see it being passed around on Facebook again this morning. So I did talk to the person, replied to her and asked her to please remove it. After this show, I'm going to check again. If she has not removed it, then I will message her and say, please take this down, and see if she will. Because, that video is not supposed to be on YouTube. Pete took it down, and whoever keeps putting it up is somebody who just wants to besmirch Larry's name, and he has been through enough of the lies against him. Now, did he do things on behalf of the Clintons? Yes, he did some things that he highly regrets, and he has confessed them to us. He's talked about them on conference calls. He's told us directly himself, and it's, those things that he did, that was over 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not a Christian at the time. Yes, he did go into the jail and, roughed up somebody in the jail because Bill Clinton accused him of raping Bill's niece. Now, it turns out Bill's the one that had done it himself and was just, being mean to somebody. There are a lot of Larry's friends he sent to jail himself because, he lost friendships over that. They were working together, and he found out, how evil these people were, and he got them jailed. And, it's frustrating for Larry to be out telling the truth, and then you've got people who just want to destroy him. And he's been dealing with this ever since he left the Clintons, and he's been trying his best to tell the truth. And if you look at near the beginning of 28 Years to Nowhere, he talks about how he felt one day he woke up after they had separated, and he felt lower than low, and he heard God say, you have got to tell the truth. And he realized in telling the truth about the Clintons, it was going to mean he had to tell the truth about himself. And this man has humbled himself to admit the things that he did. But don't forget the good things he has done to try and erase that past. He can't erase it. Just like Chuck Schumer can't erase what he said yesterday. Once things are done, they've been done, and it becomes part of history, and that's that. And you try to make things right, but you can't undo what's been done. And Larry has spent the last 31 years telling the truth on himself and the evils of the deep state, warning us about what's coming and what the potential is. And that gives us the chance to pray for what's right and what we should be doing. We need Larry back because of what Larry knows and because of the people Larry continues to get information from. He doesn't have some whistleblower or some, he gets his information from the very top of all kinds of places here in the States as well as abroad because of the work he did between high school and turning away from the Clintons. He has worked all over the world with connections to very high people. So he broke the ties, and I think it was before the Clintons moved to Washington, D.C. And
I believe it was 91.
I was thinking it was earlier than that, but it could be. Anyhow, to order the book, you can go to nicholslive.com under the merchandise page, and the order will go through there. Mark is the one that is Larry's friend since grade school, and I think junior high, if not before. He and Larry grew up together and have remained very good friends. And so Mark is the one that takes care of the merchandise. So thanks for doing that. And And thanks for those of you who pray daily for Larry. I appreciate that. I appreciate that because it helps to share the burden that I carry for him. So with that, Elly, the rest of the hour is yours. That's all I've got unless I react to what you say.
Well, actually, the first thing is to continue on with the Schumer thing. You know, what he said pretty much was inappropriate. And they're trying to say it was freedom of speech. And Judge
Napolitano.
Yeah, this morning he defended him. Yeah, he was saying, "Oh, it's freedom of speech. We can't go after him." But you know, when you make so many threats to the Supreme Court, I think at this point they can take it serious because this wasn't the first time. You know, because
taking him before the ethics committee is appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, because he said, "You have started a whirlwind. You'll pay the price. You won't know what hit you." That's what he said, and to the public. And if that wasn't worse, then he said it was meant at the senators, the Republican senators. So not only did he threaten the Supreme Court of Roberts and Kavanaugh, but he also threatened all the senators in the Republican Party. And then he accused the Supreme Court of bias. He's now threatened other Supreme Court people on Twitter. He hasn't just started with one, and since Roberts came forward, so now he's saying that the Supreme Court is no longer biased, that they're Trump supporters, and I mean he just won't quit. And then he attacked Robert on here on the impeachment, huh? When Judge Roberts kind of sided with what was going on during the impeachment, after the impeachment, he threatened him. So there's another threat. And not only that, during the Kavanaugh hearings, not only did he attack Kavanaugh, but he attacked Roberts again for the support of Kavanaugh. We need to let the process go and, let him get through the hearings and then we'll go on what we decide. Well, he attacked Roberts then for that. And then during the Kavanaugh hearings, he encouraged protesters to not only vandalize Kavanaugh's house, which they did, to the point of it being unlivable, and threatened his kids.
What? Back up.
Okay, it was tweeted out and encouraged by Schumer and a lot of the protesters, for them to go after Kavanaugh. Well, what the protesters did was they went and vandalized Kavanaugh's house. They were sitting out in front of the kids' school to harass their kids. They harassed their neighbors. They harassed family members. And then when it was put down by, I believe it was Mitch McConnell, they came back with, "Oh, quit being a baby about it," and he deserves it. And then the sixth thing that came out was documented statement that was in between the Kavanaugh hearings and when they wanted Ruth to step down. And they said, "No, you leave Ruth alone. She's going through cancer and treatment. She's still alive." And they said, let's see, "Nice court you have over there. Be ashamed if something happened to it." And that was a direct quote from Schumer. So over the last, 2 years, he's made at least 7 threats to the Supreme Court. And, it's about time we stop this, and for anybody that thinks it's okay to do this, I mean, 1 threat is okay, but 6 threats to the Supreme Court, I believe they've got something to at least silence him. I don't know if they can make him step down, but I believe they might be able to silence him. And if all it needs is all these little quotes that he's been making, that might help take him out.
I think it really would be appropriate to do two things. Call Mitch McConnell to put him in front of the ethics committee. Look, at least the ethics committee right now at the Senate level is headed by Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing, it would be appropriate to contact Barr and say, how can you let this go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know the priority right now is finding out how the spying and the FISA and all that, sorry, Dust, how that all started. That's the priority right now, which is what Durham is working on. But, this is just, this level of death threat against people is just gone way too far. And we know, Bernie Sanders has not said anything negative about what his staff people are saying, about how we're all going to be taken down and they're coming after us. And the gulag was no big deal. And, the FEMA camps are waiting and they're going to throw us in there. And I mean, our lives are going to be any Trump supporter's life is going to be in very serious danger if the Democrats get back in power.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And then I got a phone call late night. I almost didn't answer it because it was so late, except for I kind of recognized who it was. And my friend she's a lifelong friend from, I think I've known her since like 2nd grade. And she calls me up and she says, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what? And she said, well, she had went to a Biden rally. And she said it was amazing what she was watching. His wife and I guess his sister has to lead him into the arena area because he gets lost. That's why they hold his hand when they lead him up to the stage, or they push him so he doesn't wander off. And then they caught, because they were sitting behind him, and was catching his wife telling him what to say. And when she would stop is when he was coming up with these weird lines that, he would get away from her, and then he wouldn't keep his thoughts straight. And they said they had let him go outside one of the rallies, and he was wandering around like he didn't know where he was, and then asked somebody, and this was in Texas, and asked if he was in Florida or Nevada to somebody. So he's not there. His head, we need, just like they did Trump, saying Trump had dementia. We need to have Biden checked. Definitely need to have him checked. He ain't there. He's got serious dementia.
What I keep posting on Facebook when people talk about Biden, I said the issue isn't Biden. The issue is who his running mate is going to be. Because I would expect them to Amendment 25 Biden, use Amendment 25 on him very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And it's looking, from what I'm hearing, it's either for Bernie, it's going to be AOC. He keeps having her do his speeches, and he's not talking, but just rumors that I'm getting is AOC. And Biden, they're grooming Michelle Obama. And, but that's okay because look at the dirt we got on him.
Well, Barack Obama said, I'm coming back for a 3rd term. He has said that.
Yeah. Well, it looks like it may be her. And, you know, they, well, I won't go there because it's what Joan Rivers said.
Oh, yeah.
I won't go there. But they've been leading us up to transitioning into Michelle Obama. But, you know, what gets me is we have to pushing they've done in the past, you know, like Biden. Biden and all of them are KKK, and they keep calling us a racist. They all showed up to Senator Byrd's funeral and praised this man. And even, you know, I got here, oh my goodness, it's had to have been about a year ago when I brought it out. Someone told me, well, Massachusetts said they debunked that Senator Byrd was KKK Grand Dragon. And I said, you know what? What the heck does Massachusetts know that the South don't? I said, the South knew he was. We knew it. And we knew that the KKK was fluent all throughout the South and part of the Democrat Party. And that's something we need to bring out. And I went and I pulled everything I could on that funeral and how they praised him. Even Obama praised him. That's the one that shocked me, was here he's at a Grand Dragon's funeral and praising him, being a black man. And to me, that's turning on your own race. And Biden praised him. And then we got all the stuff that Obama had done led us almost into a depression. And, you know, we really need to bring it out, as well as Biden's Ukraine issues. And thank God for Giuliani. Giuliani and John Solomon, if they wouldn't have brought this out, and Nunes, we would have never known what happened in Ukraine. You know, I'd still be wondering how come Roger Stone was in Ukraine and the Podesta brothers. You know, it always bugged me. And now now that it's all come out, I connected all the dots.
I have a question, Elly, based with what's going on in the chat. Talking about AOC being Bernie's vice president, if they use Amendment 25 on Bernie, what did they do? Because AOC is not old enough to be president.
I think they would leave Bernie in and let him bring him in as a dictator. I don't think they would let Bernie go as dementia. He's got his mind's there. He's just dumb. I don't think he's got the dementia like Joe Biden. You know, I know so many people around the states, and I'm making them all go to these rallies to watch and observe the candidates, not the crowds. I mean, the crowds are so tiny, it's stupid. And I don't even see how they can even think that they're going to come close to winning Trump. I think he's going to sweep it just on the rallies. When they were doing their debates, they would maybe get, I'm hearing 1,000 to 1,500. I thought 3,000, and it's half that. And, you know, across town, you got Trump with 20, 30,000. And these rallies, you know, I look at what's behind, I count how many rows deep. They're getting, you know, on even Bernie, as popular as he is, and they said a crowd of 3,000. When I got the good aerial view of it, there was maybe about 200. And then across town, Trump's got 25,000.
Well, and don't forget the number of requests for tickets is over 100,000. I mean,
yes.
Even when I went to rallies in 2016 and then his thank you rally in 2017. So I went to two, October 2016 and February 2017. Boy, waiting in that line in February in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, that was bitterly cold. But, you know, the crowds we totally filled that auditorium. And I know there have always been, from the very beginning, more tickets requested than available.
Yeah.
And when you request tickets, I think it used to be you could request 4 before the election, but I think even for his thank you tour, the number was 2, not 4, I think. So you can't be getting bunches and bunches of tickets anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They've always set a limit. So
The only thing they have left is to take out the electoral. And what concerns me more than anything is what Pam just said. The Dems do dirty tricks. Yes. And what they're doing is the Democrats in these sanctuary cities, in these Democratic states, are now just going to start passing laws to undermine us. And, we're seeing it. They want to, they started their own little sanctuary cities. Then now they're want to do away with the guns like Virginia did. And there's 2 other states now that's doing it, Colorado and New York. And also trying to remove, they're trying to remove all the Christian schools on their own now. That was the one that really surprised me.
in California,
No, for all the states that have Democratic governors, they want to do away because of the charter thing, and the charter schools were trying to get that funding. Well, now what they want to do is call it that those aren't real schools, that it needs all of it needs to go to public schools only, and do away with the Christian schools. And more and more they're going to start writing in laws. And just like California wanted to take Trump off the ballot, and that didn't make it. And it's just, that's the dirty tricks I think they're going to go to, is each individual state with a Democrat governor or Democrat Senate and Congress start passing stuff. Because even here, they're trying to keep the sanctuary city. And we had it gone at one time. Then our own governor decided to put it back in. And, that's something I'm going to be dealing with this spring and summer, is going after Governor Hutchinson for this. Because Governor Hutchinson, as you know, Mary Ellen, was Attorney General during the Clinton era with the crimes. And, he's that last big guy that we really want to get rid of and get a Republican in and finish fixing our state.
so who won the primary Tuesday?
I'm not real sure. I've been so absorbed in the Schumer thing, I might have to go look.
Because doesn't that tell you whether he's going to be staying in the governor's mansion?
I don't, I don't know. Now I'm going to have to go look. I don't want to guess.
I mean, I don't know how often the governor is reelected. I know in Maryland, it's the presidential years, and I think it's a 4-year term, not a 6-year term for the governor, and so it's always with the presidential race. But other states do it in different years. For example, Virginia, they had their governor was voted in 2018.
Pretty much on my show this morning, I threatened Saline County. I told them I'm coming after them. It's the only county that's left that's a Democrat. And it's where Larry Nichols would tell you that's where they're all congregated. All the leftover cronies of the Clintons that had any type of power is down in Saline County. From the chief of police all the way up. And, I told everybody this morning, I'm sick of it. I'm going after Saline County to get rid of the last of the Clinton cronies in our state. And it's so sad that they're still in power. And the 2 men that have been accused of killing the boys are still in power in ways. And then they've put in their like one put their nephew in, and they're just keeping it going. And it's for some reason, we just cannot take Saline County down. Otherwise, we'd be a totally red state. And it's so sad. There was a small county south of Memphis, West Memphis, that was Democrat, but it disappeared. And it had everything red except for Saline County. And, you know, they hate Larry Nichols in Saline County. They really do. And, I mean, you could feel it when you go to talk to these people and you mention Larry Nichols, and you could just see the disturbed look. So, you know, it's the last county, and we need to take it down and get rid of Asa. I wish Huck could run again, because he would win by a landslide here. Because did our state back when he was governor.
Did Sarah Huckabee run?
You know, we hear, yeah, she might, and then we heard she's helping a friend get ready for it. But it would have to be someone like Sarah Huckabee or Mr. Huckabee himself. It's got to be somebody that can definitely win Asa, because he's real popular, just because he's a Republican. But he takes donations from Hillary. You know, all the time he's taken donations from her, and it just seems like they're little buddies. But like I said, he was the attorney general for them when they were in office here. And, you know, and then when he made governor, I was like, wait, I thought he was Democrat. And it was like, what is the Hillary's inside guy doing as our governor? And everybody says, oh, he's okay. He's doing good. No, he's just rolling over the stuff that's been put in place. He's not done one thing for our state. And that's something we need to look at with our governors, is what they're actually doing for our state. And that would be the thing to push.
Yeah, but that's my concern, you know.
Yeah.
Who was on the ticket for Super Tuesday, and who won?
Yeah. I'll have to check it out, and then that's something we could bring up tomorrow. But Arkansas, I mean, I know Trump's going to win Arkansas, because Saline County is just a little itty bitty hole in the wall down south of Little Rock. It's not that big.
Well, yeah, but the issue isn't just, I mean, we're talking state politics. And George Soros is real interested in wrapping up state politicians, so that no matter, even if Trump does get in, you can't accomplish anything, even if we get everything at the federal level. If state government is completely locked for the deep state, then you know, as Trump tries to send more responsibility back to the states, you got a problem. Yeah,
I think with Tom Cotton, I know everybody sees Tom Cotton a lot on, you know, Fox News and how much he's done. I really believe that Tom Cotton wouldn't let Soros get in, not in Arkansas anyway. And now the other states, you know, I don't know if they've got a great politician like Tom Cotton, but that's what we need, because you know, he is all for getting rid of Soros and Hillary and that whole bunch. And, you know, I met him many, many years ago when he first got in office. And it was a lot of the stuff I talked to him about. I just can't, now that he's so popular, you can't get close to him. Rapier, I can. And that's who I really want one of my interviews with here shortly, to get him on the ball. Because we need to get him to step up now and start taking care of the state when Tom Cotton isn't here. Now we have Bozeman, but I never hear of Bozeman doing anything. You know, and then we have another guy. Get this, when they had the hearings, there was like 1 or 2 people that were missing from the hearings.
Which hearings?
When Schiff was running those hearings. And there was 2 people that were missing. And I looked into it and I was like, ooh, I'm really going to get them. Come to find out, it was one of our Republicans here in the state. that didn't go. And, I tried and tried and tried to get through his office and no answers. You just leave a message on the answering machine. And so I emailed him and I told him, if you're not going to do your job, step down. When you're told to go to Washington, you go to Washington. Don't play around. This was very important that he was there. That would have been one more vote, to help Republicans out.
Well, they a lot of this failure to vote is a way to keep their money coming in so that they can play politics and fool the people into thinking they're still doing the job that we want them to do by, not verifying with their actual work who they are and what they're really doing.
I had something else. Oh, the FISA. They had a ruling that with the FISA court, the FISA court has banned FBI agents from getting FISA, the FISAs for surveillance, which means great stuff, because then they can't. I'm hoping it goes for the American people as well as the president, because they said it blocks this them going to the FISA court to be able to spy on people or listen in. That was done during Comey. Well, now they've kind of reversed it. So they can't go after and start listening to Trump or anybody like that. They're going to have to make sure they take the proper channels. And I think Barr would keep them from doing that. But I believe it's for the American people also. And see, that's what Obama did. He wanted to spy on all of us. And that's when they signed the FISA in for the American people, that's when they put in that algorithm to catch people that said like bomb, and then it would zero in on them and it'd start tracing them, or kill the president, or anything like that.
You could always tell when they were recording your phone conversation because you hear an echo. I don't hear that much anymore.
I'm getting crackling, and my calls are dropped. It used to be only when I went in my kitchen, my calls would be dropped. Now my static is coming back. I hear little tones. But I'm getting into some deep stuff on my phone. So, and it's only when me and my brother are talking, because, when me and him get together, we talk a lot of intel stuff on what we're finding out and new stuff that we need to look into to get the proof on. So that's really the only time I talk to anybody else. It's fine. I talk to my brother and it starts. We'll hear clicks, we'll hear static, we hear tones, then our call drop. And like when we call back, it's like a weird ring to it. And who knows? I want to just chalk it up to, okay, it's just the phones. But I know in my heart. And I did have a dark SUV the other day when I was doing your show. But I have such great neighbors. If anybody sits in our neighborhood, my neighbors go out and ask them what they're doing. So I got good neighbors. And it's happened to be the third time. The guy that's got the flags next door, it was sitting out there, and I kept looking out my window when I was on the show, and I was like, I wonder, and it sat there and sat there. And then the old man from next door, he goes walking across the street and says something, and then he took off real quick. I was like, yep. So I don't know. I'm getting in pretty deep on some stuff. So a lot of stuff that I'm looking into. But what, I'm not going to stop. As long as I can find something out and tell your viewers or my own, or get it out on my news page, I'm going to keep doing it. You know, I'm too ornery to kill. I think I'm like Larry Nichols, you know. If they lay me out, I'm going to kick my leg up. I'll still have that leg kicking. And if they break my leg, I'm going to wiggle my toe at them. Well, I'll flip them off with my middle toe. And
all right, we're at the end of the hour. So
I just love your viewers, and I like getting to know them. And
well,
it's
thanks
wonderful.
for all the good interaction in the live chat today. It really was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I have to say before we close, how proud I am of what I have read in the chat today.
Mm-hmm.
You
Good
guys,
chat today.
you guys are really awake and aware. Mm-hmm. You have obviously learned a lot from Larry and everybody, anybody else that you've really gleaned a lot of this information. You are paying attention. It is obvious. You are knowledgeable. And I am going to reiterate what we have heard Larry say very often. This is one of the most educated audiences in the country, mm-hmm. because of the things you have learned from Larry and continue to learn from Elly. And, you know, I'll pass all that on to you, dear. I just reiterate what I heard Larry say for the last few years. Thank you for being here, folks. Mm-hmm. God bless you. If anybody wants to donate, we're sending money through Mark, and text me. The phone number's here on the screen. Send a text message to that number, and I'll help you. I'll tell you what PayPal account to use for a donation. Thanks for being here. Please keep Larry in prayer. It's very serious again, and it seemed like he was improving, and you know, I had high hopes, and the news today was pretty devastating. So, you know, God's in charge, and God keeps telling me, thank God for what he's doing. So, you know, when you are praying, just remember to add thanksgiving and praise God for who he is and what he can do and what he will do. So, thanks again. And I'm going to say God bless you. If you want to join me for prayer on the conference call line, 712-451-0725. And the access code is 492-215. And that number is right at the bottom of the description box down below here. So, Julie, I can't type it because I don't have the 5 available right now. It's 712-451-0725. And the access code is 492-215#. So thanks. I'm going to get on that call right now and see who's there. And God bless you. We will talk tomorrow. Bye.